It's Friday, so this is the vlog. Camera tweak. So last week I did maximum sharpness, and this week I did minimum sharpness. I don't think it makes a huge difference, honestly. There's like theories for different ways to do it. Like the super sharp, like the cliche is DSLRs and mirrorless cameras tend to be way like unnecessarily sharp for film and television, and you have to soften it up. But it's also, for photography reasons, it's better to have no in-camera sharpening and then sharpen it in post where you have more control. I don't know. So if you're like shooting a sci-fi, in the group of things that you could do to make it feel sci-fi, one of them is increasing the sharpness. Lens flares is another one. Changing the white balance to make it more blue is another one. Higher frame rate is another one. So if you wanted to make a sci-fi movie or something that requires like sporting events too, sharpness and high frame rate really help. But like a movie, you really don't. And I think part of why, so now TVs are high definition, which is great, but it's also bad because if you're an actor, you the only time that you really had to worry about your makeup I mean, you've always had to worry about your makeup. The most concern you've ever had to do is when you were doing like magazine shoots for photography, but then they would touch it up, which was a very, touch-ups. But now everything's in high definition and you're basically getting photography images as what you have on TV and film. And so you can see all the defects, all the blemishes. And usually it's not worth it to go in and touch it up like you would photography. So high definition makes people sharper, makes people uglier. It's not really worth it. So if you drop the sharpness, you have a better, and change lighting. Soft lighting helps, but you look better in a soft environment. So there's an argument to be made. I don't care either way, other than it's harder to focus soft images. So did I write? This my writer's room, so not really. Did I read? No. I watched Big Brother, and it's getting weird. By accident this season, it went from reality show to actual real show, where it's the experience now, instead of like heightened fights and all the bullshit that is reality. Instead of that, now it's like you're living with roommates you hate. Like it's the actual experience where people are saying racist shit and like score settling and just doing like mean unforgivable shit to each other. It's really, it makes me feel bad. The experience of watching the show now is making me feel bad, but not in a produced reality show kind of way, but in a like, I have a shitty roommate and I'm telling you guys about it kind of way. Like it's like that. It's dare I say too real. I'm actually going through New Girl. I know it ended, so I've been coloring my film, so I've been watching New Girl, and I'm going through it, and the jokes somebody's still writing jokes for that show. I mean, as little interest as I have in the storylines in the later seasons of New Girl, the jokes are very solid. It's just the direction of most of the characters I don't care about at all. They jumped the shark. I forgot that they did an episode where Winston's cat has a different owner. Like that, I feel like that's jumping the shark for that show, where the Winston cat thing was already a super weird storyline, like a super weird string, but then now the cat's been cheating on them the whole time. Like I don't know. I also watched a couple indie films. So I watched Welcome to Me, which is that Kristen Wiig movie where she has borderline personality disorder. And it was way darker and sadder than I expected it to be. I also watched The Voices, which is Ryan Reynolds has schizophrenia, and his cat and dog talk to him, and his cat basically talks him into being a serial killer. and super dark. Also dark. Also not happy. Let's see, what else did I watch? Might have been it. So writing tip. I find this more in TV than film, but I feel like once a year, one of my ideas ends up on a show, and I had nothing to do with it. And it's not stealing, it's just I came up with an idea, somebody else came up with an idea, they got it out there first, or they got it out there, let's be honest. It's not stealing, but there's only like 12 stories or whatever, so the idea of stealing, like a lot of people I've come across are hesitant about doing an idea because a show already did it, and that's really not a reason. That's like not a full reason why you wouldn't want to do an idea, because unlike joke telling, where if you tell the joke and then somebody says the same joke again, that's definitely joke stealing. So much of an idea is wrapped in the nuance of the characters and all this stuff, and it's really hard to replicate that, even in satire, even in parody. So this idea of stealing, not so much. I wouldn't worry about it. There's definitely an argument to be made for having your stuff compared to stuff, and that's tricky because it either compares favorably or unfavorably. But as far as stealing, I don't think it matters. And also, I don't think Hollywood cares, because Hollywood is driven by money, and money doesn't really have an opinion and morals, it just does. So if your Star Wars idea that isn't called Star Wars is good enough, they will make it because it's going to make money. So I don't know. It's kind of a dark way to look at it, but it's not worth, unless you're sitting in the back of the room. Having bad luck with my phone today. Unless you're sitting in the back of the room as Carlos Mencia writing down other comedians' jokes, when you're writing a movie or a screenplay, it's hard to copy somebody because it's so hard to write the screenplay in the first place. If that makes sense. You can't. Everybody's their own blacksmith, I guess is. I don't know. Box office. I screwed up the box office. I thought Mamma Mia was going to get number 1. It got number 2. I thought Equalizer was going to get number 2. Got number 1. And then I got Hotel Transylvania 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Incredibles 2. So I got the first two mixed up. Because Equalizer did better than Mamma Mia, which surprised me. This week, Mission Impossible, I don't even know what it's called, it's coming out. Fallout. So Mission Impossible 5, I guess. I can't keep up. It's weird. It's the same. I don't know how to start this rant. I really liked the original Mission Impossible movie. I didn't watch the TV show and heard it was campy, but I liked the original movie because it was like a whodunit. It was an ensemble, and it was gadgets, and it had a certain way it was. And then the second movie came out, and it was just a hero vehicle where the Ethan Hunt character is Superman. And then the next movie came out, and he's even more Superman. And the next movie came out, and it's just basically Ethan Hunt being indestructible. So it evolved in a way. I feel like a lot of big blockbuster movies did this, because Fast and the Furious did this to me, from 1 to 4, where the first one was like just about living in LA in cars, and then the fourth one was we're going to rob a bank, I feel like, using Dodge Chargers. I forget. Like all these blockbusters, like the way once they got sort of momentum and popular and became super blockbusters, the way the stories were told evolved, and I don't like where they evolved to, because I like the original stuff. Bourne did this too, where the first I would say 3 are a story, and then after that they're just superhero vehicles basically. So I'm not even up to date on the Mission Impossibles. I didn't see Ghost Protocol or whatever. I forget. I've missed. No, I don't know. I don't know how many I've missed because they all blend together. Honestly, so Mission Impossible is gonna be number 1, and then it's everything else. So it's Mamma Mia will probably be number 2. That can't be right. You're saying the Equalizer is gonna do worse, even though it did. Yeah, that makes sense. Mission Impossible, Mamma Mia, Teen Titans Go, which is kind of crazy because that was on air when I was a kid. Equalizer 2, Hotel Transylvania 3. So that might be what the deal is. And my recommend for this week is Rush. It's the Chris Hemsworth movie about 1970s Formula One racers, specifically Hunt. What was his name? I forget his first name. Hunt was the handsome playboy, like party boy racer, and Niki Lauda was this sociopath who just happened to be a really good race car driver, and they had this rivalry. James Hunt and Niki Lauda, and they had this rivalry, and in the middle of the rivalry, Niki Lauda almost dies in a car accident and is horrifically disfigured, and ends up still fighting James Hunt. It did really bad. It did really bad in the box. I think critically it did well, but it did really bad in the box office because you look at it and it's just a car movie. It looks like Days of Thunder, another Tom Cruise vehicle, pun, and so it just looks like unless you care about cars, like why would you care? But honestly, it's a really nuanced drama about. I mean, it's basically the two kings fighting each other kind of story. Like it could have been a medieval story. It could have been anything. It just happened to be cars, and for whatever reason, the general public doesn't which is also confusing to me because Fast and Furious is like a super franchise now. So something about, I don't know, but it's a really fun movie. It's kind of long, but it's really, I wouldn't say it's biographical, but it's very tonally of the time, like of the experience, where James Hunt is smoking weed as he's climbing into his car, or he's puking his guts out because of nerves as he's climbing into his car on race day, like on the $1 million day, that kind of thing. It's a really interesting movie about. It's a bro movie. I guess that's why it did so bad. It's a male ambition movie. Throttled through the direction of only cars. Like, I guess that's how you would describe it. It's not a misogynistic movie the way a Michael Bay movie tends to be heinously misogynistic. It's a movie about male ambition, and it's really unapologetic and really trying to take itself very seriously about it. So I really appreciated it. Yeah. Cards on the Table, the 13-minute version of this is the 4th time because I kept getting calls and just fucking things up. So hopefully this was better than the other 2. Who knows? Do some writing.